Good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a fabulous morning. It is so beautiful. It's October. It's like got this nice crisp morning air, and then afternoon you get the heat. And oh, I just love fall because it's like cold and chilly, so you got your warm coffee, and then after that you're just like taking off all your sweaters and blankets, and it's just so nice and warm. It's like summer all over again, and so it's like perfect. Absolutely love California weather. Our politics are shitty, but our weather is like outstanding. You just can't beat it. I know. Whew. It's been a crazy week, and I feel like I say this all the time. It's just like nonstop insanity. Christy's circus life, I feel like I live in a clown show. It's so crazy. So last Friday, I take allergy shots. So people always ask me, they're like, hey, do you want to go hiking with us? Do you want to go hiking? And I always have to tell everybody, no, I'm allergic. I'm allergic to hiking. I cannot go hiking. Have fun. And people make fun of me because they're like, how could you be allergic to hiking? Well, I am allergic to every plant, grass, tree, shrub, whatever in nature. I'm highly allergic to nature. I just cannot do nature. When my kids play soccer, and I had two in soccer, I was on the grass field a lot more, and I would just be physically sick all the time. Just battling through it because, as a mom, can't take time off to be sick. But I was just like the congestion, the wheezing, and I'm not asthmatic. I was just like dead all the time. Popping Sudafed. I can't do Zyrtec because it totally knocks me out, makes me feel like a zombie. Claritin, Allegra, all that stuff doesn't work, so I just dying. So I decided to get allergy shots once and for all, okay? So I've been doing that. I'm on a 2-year program. I'm 2 months shy of graduating from my program. I've been taking allergy shots. I would take like 6 shots a week. 6. I know, it's crazy. And then it tapered down to 3 shots once a week, and then every 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks, and then now I'm at 3 shots once a month. Well, I went in for my shots last Friday, and everything was fine, and my kiddo takes them with me as well. So I go to drop him off at his school, which is like about 30 minutes away. And as I'm driving up to his school, I start sneezing like profusely. And I'm like one after another. It's like crazy. I can't stop. And then I start getting like the postnasal drip in the back of my throat. So my throat just becomes like raw, on fire. It's horrible. So not only am I sneezing, then my throat's like raw, and then the nose congestion starts getting crazy, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm dropping him off. I'm trying to get home as fast as possible so I could just pop some Sudafed and just crawl in bed. I'm just dying. All of a sudden, like the wheezing starts really bad. And then I could feel this lump in the back of my throat, and my throat is closing in. I'm going into anaphylactic shock. I'm like, oh my God. And it's crazy because it's never happened to me before. I do have an EpiPen. So I'm like, no, this is not happening. I'm in total denial, right? My friends are calling. I could barely speak. They're like, oh my God, call the doctor. Is your husband home? You gotta go. And I'm in total denial. I don't want a bill. I'm just like, no, this is not happening. I'm totally fine. No, it's totally happening. I could feel it. So finally it like goes to a point where I'm like, holy crap, I'm struggling. So I tell my husband, I'm like, thank God he was here, because normally he's not here. And I'm like, hey, you need to shoot me with my EpiPen. I'm barely talking. He's like, oh my God, okay. So he totally hits me with the EpiPen. And with the EpiPen, I felt like maybe like 40% better. Like I did get better. I was starting to breathe, but my throat was still like a majority closed. And so I was like, call 911. This is like how I'm talking. And So he calls 911. I'm sitting on the couch. I'm waiting for everybody to show up. And so I get this like really young paramedic, really young guy. He probably looks the same age as my son. My son's 23. And he's like, name, birthday. And I'm like, I'm trying this, I'm totally struggling here. I tell him my birthday and he does not hear me. I'm 50 years old, so I'm born in 1975. He writes down 1945. So when everybody else comes, the other paramedics, the other firemen, it's a whole brigade that comes. He tells everybody my birthday is 1945. And I am struggling, and I just want to save all my energy. I'm trying to relax myself. I'm breathing, and I'm like, I hate millennials. They can't do math. Do I look 80? 80. I'm just like, is no one going to point out the obvious? So yeah. I was like, oh my God, am I being pranked? Is there a camera coming around the corner? And it was so funny. And finally, an older EMT was like, that year does not look right. He's like, what's your birthday? And I told him like 1940. I mean, I'm going to say 45, 1975, And he's all, okay, that sounds better. And I'm like, thank you. But this kid was telling everybody and their mother I was like 80. And I tried to like look at him like, really, guy? I mean, it was funny. So anyways, I do go to the hospital. I get rushed because when you have an EpiPen, it's only 15-minute window. So you do have to call 911 if you do have your EpiPen shot. And so I do go to the hospital. I get another EpiPen shot. I get steroids and Benadryl, which I absolutely hate. It makes me nauseous. It totally throws me off, but I have to take it. And then I get released and I sleep the whole day. And then I wake up later that night and I feel fabulous all over again. And my husband's just like looking at me. He's like, drama, always just drama with you. I'm like, at least it's like never boring. I mean, you could say like life with me is like never ever boring. It's not. And my husband's very private, like extremely private. He is extremely introverted. He only speaks if there's something of importance to say. Other than that, he's just a quiet guy. He just wants to watch his baseball games and his other sports, his football, college football and whatever football, and just be in peace. So when I come into the room, he just takes a deep breath and he's like, are we gonna have sex? And I'm like, no, not right now, but I need to talk to you about something. He's like, all right, what's up? It's like, it's either sex or like nothing at all makes him happy. I'm like, but he loves it. We celebrated 26 years of marriage, and he's super lucky to have me. That's all I keep saying. I'm like, you're so lucky to have me. I'm a great conversationalist. I'm educated, so I can speak on different topics. I'm a great wife. I'm an amazing mom. I'm like, I got all the bases covered for you. So you're like super lucky, 26 years with me. And he just like looks at me and just laughs. I'm like, I just kept your life like super spicy this whole 26 years. You're so welcome. So that happened. And then let's see. So then I was fighting with UCLA. So I'm a special needs mom to 2 autistic kids, one high functioning and one very severe with communications, behaviors, that sort of thing. So I'm constantly fighting with everyone for services, government agencies, always fighting for services, benefits, our insurance. I was for our insurance. He was one of the first kiddos in the state of California to have ABA therapy paid for by our private insurance. Yeah, I, got the state of California involved, medical discrimination, all that kind of stuff. So the state of California was going to take our case. And then our private insurance was like, oh, okay, we'll pay for it. So that was a big win. So I feel like I'm constantly fighting. So I was taking on UCLA with leucovorin, which is this drug that President Trump, Dr. Oz, and RFK Jr. and a couple other doctors had a press conference recently and said they have, seen a lot of studies and a lot of benefits for this drug for severely autistic kids who have speech impediments, speech delay, speech issues, nonverbal, all that kind of stuff. And my kid has significant speech delays. He's been in speech therapy since he was about 3 years old. And speech is so key to him having a very independent life and hands off. My husband and I are not going to live together. So eventually, he's going to have to go to a facility to live out his years. And I want him to go to a really amazing facility where they encourage his independence and he doesn't have as many hands on him, where he can live a very fruitful life out in the community, maybe some employment, that kind of stuff. So speech is so essential for this kiddo and for all our kiddos. So I've been fighting with UCLA for about 8 months to get him on this med, and everybody's like, oh, there's not enough data, blah, 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 blah. So the conference comes out and I'm like, I'm sorry, it's FDA approved. There is enough data. You guys, I don't know what your parameters are for enough data, but there is enough data. And it was always like, no data, your kid's too old, I don't know, that's not part of our regimen. But if I did ask him for Adderall, benzo, clonopine, whatever heavy narcotic that's like a psychotrope, they would write that script in a second. I always have to fight to keep Zachary off of meds. They push meds so hard, but a synthetic vitamin, whoa, that you can't make money off, oh, that's hands off. That's totally hands off. So with me pressuring them, and my doctor, my kiddo's doctor, he's actually leaving UCLA. He was like, F it, I'll just write the prescription. I'm leaving anyways. It can't get me in trouble. So he did, and he wrote it for a whole year. And he told me that the doctors there are not very receptive about this drug. And I'm like, that's okay. I'm very strong. I am a strong advocate for my kiddo. Authority does not bother me. I like a challenge, and I will challenge. And he's like, I know, you know what you're talking about, and I know you're a fighter and you're a great advocate, and so you're in good hands, and good luck to you. So I finally got my kid on it. He's doing great. We give it to him at night because it seems to make him a little lethargic during the day, and we're seeing a lot more spontaneous speech in him, which is normally stuff he wouldn't say. He's got echolalia, which is like a repeat echo. It's a repeat of everything he hears and people say to him and stuff like that. So if you were to say, hi, how are you, Zachary? He would respond, hey, how are you, Zachary? He would not say I'm doing well, unless you prompt him, which prompting means, redirecting him to say something different. So I would say, no, how are you? And he would say, oh, I'm good, because he's been in therapy to try to elicit a different response. So anyways, So he's had a lot of spontaneous speech. So that's been amazing because we don't really see a lot of spontaneous speech. We see the same speech patterns, the same verbal answers to everything because of therapy. So when you get something completely different and out of his repertoire of sentences that he could say, you're like, what? And so, yeah. So, and I've actually put him on ivermectin as well, which I'm a huge fan of ivermectin. I've been taking it as well. And I have seen significant changes in his behaviors, like more calm, and more attention span, which my kiddo is always revving 1,000. He's always like moving like a shark, in and out, pacing everywhere in constant motion. And for us to see him calm and sitting down with us for dinner, which he never does, and for him to, for everybody to tell me like, oh my gosh, he's got like a lot more attention. He's, purposely trying to select the correct answer on his work, where before he would just like point at anything just to get it over with. So we're seeing significant achievements with this drug. So I am just very grateful for this president. And it's very sad because it's been very politicized, and you can see on all these parent forums that a lot of doctors are saying, no, thank you, we're never going to prescribe this. So it's so political that we can't get the help we need for our kids because everybody's hatred for our president, which our president has brought autism to the spotlight. I mean, to the forefront. Before, no one was talking about it, and it was getting so bad, and it was just such a horrible epidemic. And it's such a nightmare to have your kid have this vaccine injury, because we all know it's a vaccine injury. It's not a disorder. It's not genetic. There's no gene. They like to say, oh, it's probably, genetic. They've never found a gene. Never. They can't say there's a specific mutation or variation or anything like that. They suspect, but it's all theory. And we specifically, as a family, have had our DNA tested and continue to have all our DNA tested because I want my 2 boys' wives to know it is okay to have children. The probability, there we are, the probability of them having an autistic child is significantly low if they do not vaccinate. If they do vaccinate, there's a high instance they would have an autistic child. I have 2 out of my 3. My firstborn, he was vaccinated and he was totally fine. And my other 2, something happened where they could not process the aluminum, the other ingredients that were in the vaccine. And I could see it as a mother, my children changing right before my eyes. And the pediatrician and the government, everybody saying like, I was crazy and I was making shit up and my kids were totally fine. It was something that I was doing. And so that created just a huge mistrust of doctors, the government. I have a huge mistrust in them. And that's why, I tried more natural and holistic. I don't go straight to medication. Obviously, if my kids are sick and they need penicillin, 100%. But I want to try a more holistic approach, for other things, other simple things, and not go straight to the doctors. Because before, we used to have a lot of home remedies, a lot of natural herbs and things that we had in our kitchen that could cure just regular childhood illnesses. And kids were perfectly fine. And so we all need to get back to that and stop relying on big pharma. Because if you really do your research, a lot of the medications, a lot of the antibiotics, they're all made in China. And you know how Chinese government feels about us. They hate us. They want to eradicate us. They want to make us even more sick than we already are. So I want to get back to the basics. And there's a lot of moms out there. There's a lot of families. The MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again. And that's it. It's not political. It's just we need to be healthy again. It is not normal to walk around with your Ziploc baggie full of medication. It's not normal whatsoever, and we need to get back to being healthy. And it's so funny because I'm 50 years old, and I hit menopause in January like a ton of bricks. Like, it hit me hard. And my stress, my cortisol level, which is stress, was off the charts. My estrogen, which is coincides with stress, was off the charts. I mean, it was like a flat line at the top of the page. And I was like, what happened here? And the nurse practitioner was like, it's so high, you can't be measured. It's off the charts. And I was like, okay, that totally is legit. My life is super crazy and stressful dealing with a severely autistic son. And so, okay, I get it. I need to make like huge lifestyle changes, even more than I've already made, to get my hormone levels in shape, on balance, naturally. So I put myself on ivermectin, which I was doing anyways for a parasite cleanse. And my night sweats, my hot flashes, my brain fog all went away naturally, because I feel that it was all the inflammation from my hormones being unbalanced all went away. And with ivermectin being a natural anti-inflammatory medication, it did its job, and I feel fabulous. So, but you know, everybody's always like, that's not what it's for. It's parasitic and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but it has other benefits. And there's so many Facebook forums on ivermectin. It's mind blowing of how people are curing themselves of rheumatoid arthritis, which is something that I came up having antibodies. So I still have to go to the doctors for that, to see if I'm just a carrier, if it's dormant right now, if it's going to come out or what. So with taking ivermectin, I have no joint pain, which is associated also with menopause. So I'm really trying to be that person that's not walking around with a bag of medication. But you know, ivermectin has so many benefits, and I feel great. Also with menopause comes the weight gain. Oh, man, it came quick on me, like fast. So I do exercise, I do eat very healthy, but it doesn't matter. It's the hormones causing the weight gain, and it's always around the center. So my hips and thighs, even though my husband's like, I love it, something to grab you with, I do not like it, do not. So I've been on berberine for over a month and some liver support so I could excrete the estrogen out of my body. And finally, after taking it consistently for like about a month and a half, I feel like my body's slimming down and finally feeling its effects. And it took a while. It was very slow, and I'm very impatient. So that was hard, but I still do Pilates. I just tapered down to a lower level, and then a lot of stretch classes. And then I also do like a 30-minute walk just to de-stress myself from the day, because all my hormones seem to be stress related. So I'm really trying to hone it in. But man, it's been a crazy week. So crazy. But you know, you got to do what you got to do, right? And you got to be happy. And it doesn't matter anyone's opinions. No one's opinion matters to me except the people who live in my four walls. Okay? As long as my unit, my family unit is happy, healthy, we're doing great. everybody could just F themselves. And that's totally my attitude. I'm like, we're fine. Who cares? And, you know, people are like, oh, aren't you like concerned so-and-so and family members, especially family members? I'm like, hell no. Family is sometimes super overrated. Sometimes like my best friends, actually my best friends, my close friends, my cousins, those are the people I generally care about. I communicate all of the time. Everybody else, I'm like, I'm okay. Totally feel fantastic over choices of eliminating close family from my life. I feel that it is brought like severe joy to my life. I don't have that pressure, that toxic and dysfunctional relationship. So definitely, if you're feeling that from family, it is not worth it. You need to cut ties with it. And you will feel like such a relief, like a weight just naturally came off of you. It's fantastic. And everybody's like, oh, don't you miss? No, I do not miss the fighting. I do not miss walking on eggshells for people. I don't miss that dysfunctional relationship I had with people. Now I focus on my kids, my husband, and really close friends and cousins that, you know, I still have a relationship with it. And everything is wonderful. I have a fantastic relationship with one sister. I have 4 sisters and 2 stepbrothers, and I'm down to 1 sister, and I love it. Perfect. So it's great. She reciprocates my relationship with her, and I feel like, yay, I don't have to fight for anyone's attention. I don't have to fight for a relationship with someone, and it feels fantastic. And the best thing about it is that my kids are learning about boundaries. Having personal boundaries with people who hurt you, people who disappoint you constantly. And I have to say, like, my oldest is 23, and he was just like, Mom, I'm learning from you about boundaries and saying no and not having people use me and not feeling the pressure to have a relationship with people when there's nothing reciprocated back. And I was like, yes, such a huge win, because a lot of people would say they're like, you're crazy, you're weird, you know, because the norm is to stay in these horrible, dysfunctional relationships, because that's just what it is. It's family. You know, you can't dump family. Yes, you can dump family, and it feels fantastic. And my kids are learning that just because you're blood related doesn't mean you have to take that stuff. Or even with close friends that you've had for forever, you don't have to take their crap. Life is so beautiful. Life is so short. Live your life and be happy, and it doesn't matter what anyone else says. Right? Yes. All right. I hope you guys have such a wonderful day. It's so beautiful. I'm going to go for a walk, go enjoy the beautiful, beautiful day. And oh my gosh, this is long. It's almost like 30 minutes. Alrighty. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend.